Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to the Wealth Catcher channel. Definitely happy that you guys are able to stop by and tap into the channel. And as you can see from the title of the video, my 3-year-old son's portfolio went from $7,000 to $8,400 in a matter of a few weeks. So today we're going to dive into that move to see how that came about. And also this video is more geared towards the parents that have children that want to do the same for their kid. So we'll definitely dive in discussing setting up a custodial account and investing for your child, right? So that's something I'm very passionate about. Something that obviously you can see from here. I've been doing for the last 3 years for him, and definitely happy about this milestone that we just achieved, and definitely looking forward to the future milestones that we're also going to achieve as time goes on, right? So again, $1,300, 3 weeks, pretty impressive, for a kid that was just running around watching Blippi and playing with his dogs and, being a menace around the house. A little over $400 a week he was bringing in while, you know, giving us headaches. But definitely love him. Definitely am happy that I'm in position and my wife and I are in a position to be able to do this for him. And it's possible for anyone to do it too as well, with any amount of capital that you may have. We're going to dive into that too to get it started. And yeah, some tips and some tricks. And again, it's not financial advice. Definitely, consult with a professional, do your own research, things of that nature. But I'm just gonna go through the process of what we've chose to do for our child and the steps in the process that we're taking along the way to get him to the ultimate goal, financial freedom, all those type of things, right? For him to have the ability to do what he wants to do for the most part, when he gets to that age of around 21. So you got to have a good foundation, right? To go ahead and pursue things in the world. So definitely like, comment, subscribe, leaving suggestions down there and about what you're doing for your child or your plans. Again, this is just one avenue. So there's multiple ways to secure your child's financial future. This is just one of the ways that I'm going full throttle in, and basically taking the bull by the horns with this method that I'm pursuing for him. So numbers breakdown, right? So again, this happened over a matter of weeks. We didn't make any more deposits. We didn't do any trades during this time frame. So from March 27th to April 17th. March 27th, he had about $7,080 in there. Gain was $1,349. Total amount now he's sitting at is 8,429. So again, that's just strictly market movement. Obviously, we know that the market hit all-time highs recently, and we're gonna again dive into parts of this portfolio, how we have it structured out for him. So overall, this is how his portfolio is looking, right? So we have FNILX, Microsoft, Meta, FBTC, which is a spot Bitcoin ETF, SMH, which is the semiconductor sector. We have CrowdStrike, Google, Amazon, Eli Lilly. And obviously you see the percentages there next to them. That's the allocation. So that's how much those are weighted in his portfolio. And again, you on the other end being a parent that's going to go out here and try to um, pursue the same thing, do this for your child as well. This is just me doing this based off of my knowledge, based off of my research, based off of my investing knowledge that I've accumulated over the years, right? And you could start simply just with the broad base index fund, like something like the FNILX, which is almost like a S&P 500 equivalent, right? You don't have to go out there and do this deep research or, handpick select companies and things of that nature. You could do the same thing for your child while having it be as simple as possible for you, right? A lot of parents, either they don't know about this opportunity or this ability. You could create a custodial account for your kid, or you could go through the 529 plan, investing for higher education, college, and things like that. Um, a lot of people don't know about these things that are available to them. And some of them that do, they're afraid of the market, right? Or they don't have enough time to try to learn. Again, we have all this technology nowadays. We have all these tools available to us. You have YouTube. You on the other end of this, watching this video, that's you investing in yourself to try to learn more, obtain more information. You can watch this channel, go to my site. There's other things, investopedia.com. There's other creators out there that have great information. I have a resource tab on my page that could let you click on those links, go to their YouTube channels. There's books in my links, Money Master the Game. We have the book You Deserve to Be Rich by EYL. There's a lot of different ways to obtain this knowledge. At the end of the day, it's about you willing to take that step to go ahead and obtain that knowledge, not just for yourself, but also, again, it's a living proof right here. It's for your child's future as well, right? The more you know, the easier that path is going to be for them, right? That's the whole point of everything, right? I'm I'll be pretty remiss to meet a parent that doesn't want better for their child than they had growing up or what they've been through in their life, right? That's the ultimate goal that we're all trying to achieve. So that's the portfolio breakdown. So what drove the growth, right? So now again, market rebound. That $7,080. I don't know why that's so hard to say. Was basically the bottom of his account, right? That's what his account bottomed out at during this whole Iran war and all that stuff. So obviously we've had a nice market rebound. As you can see from allocation, we are very tech heavy. That's my thesis on it. I'm a believer in the tech sector. And obviously, we're paying for it in volatility, which we're going to touch on. There are some risks when it does come to investing, right? This isn't just a sunshine and rainbows. You're human. You're gonna go through emotions and stuff like that while pursuing this your own personal journey and also trying to complete this mission on your child's behalf, right? But we've had tech strength, and then we have quality assets, right? The names that you see there listed, again, but not some random company you never heard about. They're pretty well established names, and even for some that are kind of more niche, like CrowdStrike, in cybersecurity, maybe something you probably haven't heard of, but it's in something that it's involved in the sector that you've heard about. You know about cybersecurity, right? So when you are building out this portfolio, make sure you quality names if you're going to go the individual route in terms of picking out companies, stuff that you know about, you are sure about, and you believe in your own research, and obviously conducting with like minds or going out there and getting data, right, to back up your thesis. And then the last but not least is patience, right? Patience pays, right? So no panic selling. So this isn't his first time where his account has, dropped that much either, right? So he's had moments where over a span of a couple weeks, a couple months, his account would draw down $600, maybe 500. I think the most ever was probably like close to $900 over a period of time, right? But again, through all those times, I'm not pressing sell. I'm not doing any of those things, right? I've chosen the names that I've chosen, and the goal is money gets allocated to his account. He has cash in there. We have a drawdown. We're gonna go and look for opportunities, right? So, a couple videos back, this was like in I think February. We made some purchases for him. I think we had bought Microsoft, some more Meta, and I know we added CrowdStrike to his portfolio as well, right? So that was like early March, sometime in February as well. So those type of opportunities, right? So that does go into play driving the growth, right? So looking for quality names, understanding the reason why you're buying a stock, or buying into your broad-based index, your ETF, or whatever the case may be, or your S&P 500. Understanding key levels. If you're someone that feels like you're gonna have the patience to do that, right? S&P 500 dropped 9%. That was an opportunity to go ahead and allocate, build towards your position for your child's portfolio and account. That's how I personally go about it. Again, for the average parent, the new person that's getting into this investing landscape, you could just do something where every week you're making purchases, right, on an automatic schedule. Doesn't matter if it's high, doesn't matter if it's low, doesn't matter if the market's been trading sideways. It's dollar cost averaging, right? You're just making sure every week or every month or every quarter that you're constantly buying positions for your child. So this is the reality check, right? So we do know there's risk in the market, right? Especially if we're playing this from the long game. Like for me, when my son was coming into the world, me and my wife already made that conscious decision of this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and open a custodial account, and I put in my head it's gonna be locked in. For depending on your state, it's 18 or 21 that the kid gets access to it. So I'm at to put in my head for 18 to 21 years. This is what we're doing. We're gonna keep on every year. We're gonna put around this amount of money, and I broke it down before in a past video about my son's custodial account. Like it's a real in-depth video about the steps and all those things that we're doing. But just to give you a brief rundown on it, it's basically $1,100 a year, right? $1,140 a year gets allocated to his account. That averages out to about, I think, $95 a month, right? But how we do it is through, the tax credit you get for having a child. I think it's about $2,000. So we give him basically a little over half of that to his account because, again, we wouldn't get that credit if he wasn't here, right? So my thesis on it, it just makes sense to make sure a portion of that gets allocated to him for his financial future, right? So, and with that, that money goes in there, settles, and then throughout the year, I make purchases. Me, I'm someone that's very, I try to be as on top of the market as I can. I'm a fanatic about it. I'm very nerdy about it when it comes to it. I read CNBC almost every day. I stay up on the news. I have favorite companies. It's interesting to me to just see what a company's doing. Again, the average person is probably not going to do that, right? But that's how I approach it, right? And then with that, we do know there's risk, right? So I put in my head too, this is 21 years worth of risk, right? But looking at the data over a long period of time, the market's going to go up, right? So we're not going to be reactive to these short-term volatility, these downturns, right? Or these temporary losses, which are basically paper losses, right? It's just his account's just down during that time span, right? Again, you trust your allocation, trust your portfolio, and you're investing in leaders, right? And again, trusting your research. Option two here, too, you see your number two, volatility. Again, something like what's been going on lately with the administration, the tweets, the stuff being posted on social media, all this fear mongering, that's volatility, right? Stuff with interest rates, stuff with the job market, stuff around AI, all these fears, yada yada yada. There's going to be more of these things just along your investing journey. Volatility is always there. We had it with the pandemic. We had it with the great financial crisis. We're having it now, right? We've had it with wars. We've had it with things in the past, whether it's, you know, the Great Depression. All these things come into play over time, right? But even despite all those things, the market has always gone up over a long period of time, right? That's what you're signing up for when you get into the situation, right? And then last, you want to stay calm, right? Don't make any rash decisions. Don't do anything that's out of the norm. You don't want to make something that's temporary a permanent situation, right? Counts down $1,000 while your account, for your child could be down, let's say 8% on the year. Then you see the S&P 500's flat. You're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. I'm underperforming the market. I made such a bad decision. No, understand your allocation. Like for me, I'm tech heavy. So S&P 500 for my son could be down 2% and we're down 6%. I'm not going to look at it as, oh, I'm a bad investor or I'm doing terrible because I'm not beating the market in that short window of 90 days, let's say. No, because I could see the long term period, right? When we're going into the next slides, we're going to see compound my CAGR for him is astounding. You know, my compound annual growth rate for his account is amazing. So, again, stay calm, trust in your research, trust in everything that you're putting behind this. And again, stick to your thesis. And when the story changes, that's when you should start looking at, okay, let me make these things, let me move these things over here. And me, I've done that before with his account. Once upon a time, he had Disney in his account, all because I was going with the mindset of like, oh, he's a kid, he should have Disney shares. No, I, no, I don't believe. My thesis is I don't believe Disney's a leader. I don't believe Disney's moving, the GDP of the world or of the country. They're a decent company, but do I think they're going to be important in terms of like the landscape of the world 20 years from now? No, I look at them as just strictly a consumer product. But what is important to me, tech, things like healthcare, things like what's going on in AI, things that's going on technologically with the future. That's my mindset on it, and that's why I think the dollar should be allocated towards. And me, for him, sold off Disney. Went ahead and allocated. I think we bought Meta with that money that we sold off in Disney, right? So, not saying you have to be, you know, cemented in stone when you make your decisions, but if you are going to pivot, make sure it makes sense. It's not something rash and emotional based off what you see on headlines. You open the account and then you're seeing that your child account is down 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is, right? And you make this rash decision that's going to hurt them in the long run. Don't do that. Because again, when you're custodian of these accounts, you're doing these decisions for your child's behalf, on your child's behalf, right? So make the best decision, make the best choice for them. So again, time is greater than timing, right? So for us, very early in the journey, right? He's just 3 years old. He's turning 4 in the summer. But even with that being said, he's had great and tremendous growth over the time being in the market. Again, went through volatility, went through the ups and downs. But for the good times, you wouldn't be able to see it if you're not participating, right? Yes, participation is going to lead you to some pain. It's going to lead you to some moments where there is some drawdown. There are some, painful days where you look at the market, look at the account, and you're like, damn, this is looking bad. But you're also going to be missing out on the days where it's exuberant, right? Where the numbers are, again, back to the title of the video, him being able to make that quick gain. And again, I know $1,300 may not be a lot to some people and all that. I'm just looking at the context of it, right? He's 3 years old. $1,300 in 3 weeks. Again, an average of 400 and change while he's watching Blippi, while he's, watching Power Rangers and just being a little kid, right? I'm pretty sure you don't know any 3-year-old or going to meet any 3-year-old that has that working that about, right? Obviously, there are people who are doing this, right? They're probably not public about it. They're probably not sharing the knowledge on it. But I think for sure, if we want to do this on a wider scale, we have to share the information, right? Because yeah, it's great for some kids to have it, but all kids should be able to have the opportunity, right? Especially they have parents involved in their life or a guardian involved. You should be able to try to put away something for your child, right? just to ease that burden on them, because you're a parent, you're an adult, you know how hard it is to make ends meet. Some of us are check to check, some of us are struggling to pay bills. If there's anything you could do to prevent that type of future, or at least to lessen that type of stress on your child when they come of age, why wouldn't you take the opportunity, right? And people think you need a whole bunch of money to do it. You don't need that. Even if it was $10 a week, or if it was $10 every other week. So what? $20 a month. I'm pretty sure you could come up with that, right? Or again, if you're someone like me, we just don't do it monthly. We just wait till tax return. You know, we wait for the tax credit for him that we're gonna get, and that's how we go about it, right? Automatically, we know $1,140 allocated. Don't have to think about it. If we want to add some more money to it, maybe for his birthday, maybe for Christmas, spur of the moment thing. Hey, I got $20. Let me put it in the account. Family members and friends. Hey, don't forget about his investment account. If y'all want to, excuse me, if y'all plan on buying gifts, you know, you could just put $10 in his account. He'll be fine. He has enough toys. So those type of things, right? So again, time is greater than timing. You have to be an active participant to be able to get the gains, right? Because all the stories you're going to see about if you invested $10,000 today, or if you invested $1,000 in this, yada, 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 right? And you see what it becomes 10 years from now, 15 years from now, right? Yeah, it's great to see, but were you a part of it? You want to be involved in it, right? You want to get your child involved in the market, right? And again, it's not just the market. It could be all multiple things, right? But the market is definitely one of the most proven ways to build the wealth, right? And we have the tools, we have the access, we have the information to go ahead and pursue this and do it. And I think you should take full advantage of it while you can, right? So, again, what he has working for him, and it's going to be for multiple kids, right? Even if your kid's 15 years old, you can start, right? I have multiple people who are close to me where I have a family member, they started their son, he's turning two, just opened up their custodial account. I have my nephew, custodial account just opened up. He just recently had turned one. I have my cousin, she's 20, 21 years old, started her own brokerage account and she's doing great. Has been investing for about 2 years. Is about to pass a big milestone. Yeah, just multiple people that I've either personally know or personally helped with these things. And again, use this to your advantage, right? And the early advantage here, yeah, it applies to age for the most part because again, you and your partner, you have a baby, you bring a new life into the world. You can start the account as soon as the baby's born. Social security number gets created, right? You just need name, social, and then your bank account, routing number, and all that stuff to fund the account, and you can start. My kid was here for 90 days, and I already opened up custodial account for him. So that's the same velocity you need to move with it. If you're wanting to pursue this route, that's almost as early as you can start, right? But again, let's say you didn't even find out about this until now. Your kid's 10 years old. It's not too late. You can still do it. Your kid's 10, kid's 15, kid's 17. You could still start. It's better than nothing. And again, starting today, regardless of the child's age, you still have to put in your head that kid has another 60 years of life, 70 years of life, right? If they're a teenager, they have 70 plus years of life of laying that money in compound. My son, he has 80 plus years. God willing, give him a long, healthy life, right? 80 years probably plus of letting money work in the market. And obviously throughout, his elderly years, he's going to be withdrawing. But then who knows what the rules are going to be back then. But right now we have the 4% rule, right? Um, that kind of goes up to like the 4.5%. Sometimes it drops down a little bit depending on what type of financial or fire number you're approaching with, right? But again, Look at that runway versus someone who's starting in their 30s, someone who started in their 40s or 50s, right? That window compresses greatly. If you could give your child that advantage, again, why would you not do that? So again, start as soon as you can. Account's going to go strong. Time is obviously what helps this go on, right? The more time you have behind you, the easier it is going to be, especially to generate these returns, right? It's just going to keep compounding on top of each other, right? So again, by this time next year, his account, should probably be clearing 10K or approaching 10K, right? And that's already put in my head, including the $1,100 that's going to go into the account, right? So I'm not really taking into account market gains from the rest of this year, and also what the market would have gained potentially by second quarter of next year, right? But I'm already putting in my head he'll be four with at least 10,000, right? So that's just the money compounding on top of itself. That's adding contribution and then market returns, right? That's how we have to approach these things, right? And be consistent with it over time, right? Me and my wife, we have that consistent plan. You have to file your taxes every year. He's going to be clean on the taxes every year. That's almost as clear cut and dry as you can have it with no deviation, right? So find a plan that's going to be as consistent as possible with you, right? So this is the power of compounding, right? So this is a compound interest calculator that I do have on my site. I'll leave the link below in the description. But if you were to start today with his amount, right? So this is not taking into account what we've already done. So we're going to say we start off today with the $8,429, right? We keep contributing how we doing it, right? The $1,140 a year, that's $95 a month. And again, we're going to do a very conservative number, which is 8% a year. Right now, his compound annual growth rate, or his CAGR, his rate of return on his investments right now is about 26%. So obviously, that's something that isn't sustainable over the long term, right? That's where I'm going to put it into account, right? It'd be great if we're able to do that, right? But obviously, we're going to shoot. I'm shooting for the stars here, but I'm also creating a base for him, right? Worst case scenario is he ends up with $73,000 by the time he's 21 years old. I don't know about you. If I was 21 years old and I had $70,000 to go off into the world with, you know, that's money you could put towards down payment on a home. That's something you could probably go ahead and start a business. And this isn't taking into account either him working in his teen years, him working between those ages of 18 and 21, those early college years, and putting money towards it, right? And again, this is at 8%. This means that the rate of return we're doing now will have to drop drastically over the next almost 2 decades, right? So that most likely isn't going to happen. But again, we put these numbers in here to understand. For me, this is kind of like worst case scenario, right? If he dropped from 26% return a year all the way down to 8%, right? Starting today. But let's say for fun, if he was able to keep that compound annual growth rate of 26%, right? So, and I didn't add a single dollar. Like, we stopped contributing. We kept it at $8,429. No more contributions. At 21, he'd be looking at 400 to 500K, right? Let's say we still kept on doing the 1140 a year until he's 21 with the same 26% annual return. That's 800,000 to 900,000 at 21. That's obviously insane, right? That's again, if we're keeping it at the 26%. But I've done the worst case scenario, 8% here. And then for me, I'll be definitely happy if the 26% reverts back down to about 15%. Let's say over time it averages out to about 15% return a year. which is still phenomenal, still great. Again, market average is about 8 to 10%. If we're able to get 15% over these early years of him investing, those first 2 decades, that's great. At 21, he could end up with 140K to 160K. That's, again, amazing. There's not many 21-year-olds you're going to meet in life that have close to six figures or six figures to go out into the world, right? And build their life. You know, obviously along the way, he's going to have his other stuff he has to work on, being a good person, trying to be, you know, um, a productive being to society, all those type of things, right? Having good morals, good ethics, good character, all those things, right? But at least for the financial part, that is leading to a path of like he's being secured there. And that's the whole goal of it. And also, this is to give him options and opportunities when he gets to that age, right? So, for you, if you're a parent in this situation and you're thinking, how do I get started, right? I'm an expectant mother, I'm a father that's expecting, we're a married couple, or whatever the case may be. Or we have kids that's getting ready for college, or my kid just turned 15. How do I go about, being able to try to get something started for my kid, right? So, again, open an account early. So, your early is as soon as possible. So, that's today, that's tomorrow, that's within the next 48 hours, just open the account. It's not going to hurt you just to go to Vanguard, go to Charles Schwab, go to Fidelity, um, go to, I think, I want to say, I'm not sure if E-Trade had it, but I know for sure Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. I know for sure those have custodial accounts because I've either opened custodial accounts with all those brokerages before, or I've assisted people in helping them open brokerage accounts with all those open custodial accounts at all those brokerages before. Either myself or I've helped family members and friends do that. So definitely go to those things. So again, Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab. Open a custodial account. You're obviously gonna need your information, your child's information, social, things of that nature. It's the same thing as opening a bank account. You do that, right? Then it's about finding quality assets, right? For the beginner, if you don't know, you're afraid, I'm not sure what to do, simply just buy the market. So buying the market is buying a broad base index fund. So you could buy VOO, which is the SP 500, and I definitely will go with that because it's one of the has a very low fee, right? It's basically almost free for you to do that, and no matter what brokerage you go to, that VOO is available there, right? And while you're learning, while you're obtaining information, while you're trying to understand what this investing world is about, um, whether it's in picking stocks, picking quality ETFs, whatever the case may be, while you're learning and trying to adapt to this, you could be in something like that for your child, funding it per week, per month, whatever it is. Put the money in there, right? Don't let the cash sit in there. You have to actually go select the ticker, VOO, press buy, choose your dollar amount, $50, $10, whatever it is, and actually buy it, right? Don't just transfer it over there and let the money sit there. Then you have to actually go log into the account and actually purchase the ETF, right? So while you're doing that, right, you could be learning, you could be solidifying yourself and also gain assurance that you understand what you're doing, right? Watch YouTube videos. There's legit information everywhere about how to buy a stock, how to sell a stock, how to break down a company, how to break down an ETF. Again, there's a lot of information on my site on how to do these things. There's a lot of information everywhere else on how to do these things, right? It's about you dedicating the time to go ahead and do those things, right? But again, don't wait to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to wait till I learn what I'm doing, then start. No. Open the account, buy VOO, or buy VTI. That's the total stock market for the US, right? Do one of those two things, right? Do that, buy one of those ETFs. Cool. And then go learn what you gotta learn because you have to start now, right? If that's what your concern is, how you go about this for your child, start now. Pretty much it, point blank, period. And then along the way, you have to stay disciplined, right? So whatever plan you come up with, hey, I want to do $50 a month. Hey, I want to do $100 each quarter. Whatever the plan is, make it a plan that you could stick with to continually contribute, and also throughout time you have to, how can I say it? You have to be involved in the markets to understand your investor sentiment, right? It's going to take you being involved in the market, seeing money go up, seeing money go down, for you to get a good understanding of your emotions and what you feel like doing in those situations, right? For you to understand how you are as an investor, right? Especially if you're going to be investing on behalf of your child. If you can't take, oh, seeing your account down 20%, you probably shouldn't be the one that's being the custodian of your child's account, right? Especially if you're in a partnership, maybe you and your partner, whoever's more, I should say, investor savvy, should probably take control of that situation, right? Or you can learn throughout it market psychology, how to regulate your emotions, right? And again, it's a multi-layered approach, but you have to stay disciplined, stay consistent, and also be very good with your emotions. There's gonna be times you're gonna question yourself. There's gonna be times where you're gonna second guess, did you make the right decision? And sometimes you can get too far in your head, start thinking really that 10, 15 years down the road, is that company still going to be around? Is this still going to be, some bad news comes out around Apple? Dang, did I really buy this stock and it's going to go down? You are going to make mistakes along the way, and that's fine. The thing is, you want to be winning more than you're losing. And again, high conviction names, quality assets, right? But the best thing for it all, buy VOO or buy VTI and just chill while you're learning along the way. Because even if you were to get the market return 8 to 10%, that's fine. That's phenomenal. You're just getting your fair share of market returns over time. So don't beat yourself up just because you're not, like I said, for here, where my son got the 26% return on average. Even that, I'm happy for it. I feel like I'm the man. Like, oh man, I did that. Look at my son's account. I'm so happy for him. But I also understand that's not sustainable. I do know eventually it's going to revert back down, right? Over time. That's just eventually what's going to happen. So start off with those things and stick to your plan. So definitely gonna close it out now. As you can see here, build now. That's the thing. You gotta go ahead, start it as soon as you can. Start it, definitely within the next 48 hours. Try to go ahead and get that set up. If you got to sit down, talk to your partner about these things, hash it out, whatever it is. But I definitely feel like if you have a child, even if you don't have a child, you have loved ones, you have nieces, nephews, little cousins, whoever it is, that they under the age of 18, you go ahead and get that custodial account built up for them. That's exactly what I do. I go ahead, sister's having a baby, hey, don't forget about custodial account. In-laws having a baby, don't forget about the custodial account. Everyone I could talk to about my brother and sister, they got custodial accounts. It doesn't matter. I try to get the message out there, and definitely, because this is building, the financial future of tomorrow, pretty much, right? You're building a financial foundation for these children of tomorrow. So be a vital part of that. Understand what you're doing. Take initiative. I do appreciate y'all stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. The links will be down below for the website, for the tools. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can email me at thewealthcatcher@yahoo.com. I appreciate you guys. You have a good night. Peace.